Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for this glorious Sabbath day that we're here, that we have the freedom, the ability to come together and worship you, and but more special, Father, to come together with my other sisters and just to have a time to be together, to talk to one another and share, Father. Let us be a blessing to one another as we bless you on your day, Father. I ask that you please be with Deborah. She's about to speak, and that you give her the words and wisdom to say what you need for her to say, Father, and that we'll be just blessed by her, and that we'll be blessed with her as well. And I ask all these things in Yahshua's name we pray. Hallelujah.
Thank you. Well, thanks all of y'all for coming, and I hope that we can all enjoy our time together and get closer as a family. So this is really exciting. Okay, the title is "Do You Love Me?" And when I say me, I'm talking about you guys. Loving yourself the way Yahshua commands. For a long time, I didn't think that Yahshua commanded us to love ourselves. I thought we were supposed to love other people. So I didn't really work on the loving me part, you know, and that can be very detrimental to your life. But what I found is that Yahshua does command that we love each other, or love ourselves the way, well, let's go to the next slide and see what it says. It was about Yahshua's love. I think that was a messed up slide, sorry. Okay, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So the last part is what we want to focus on today, is how do we love ourselves? And I think it's spelled out a lot. All we have to do is look at how he tells us to love our neighbor in the Torah and in the scriptures. And we need to also treat ourselves that way too. And when I say love ourselves, I'm not talking about being all high and mighty on ourselves, or, you know, that self, oh, you can have this chair too. I'm not talking about the vain kind of, or wherever you love. Oh, you're good. We just...
The color of the paint, the color of the paint marks, I think it's cool.
Oh, yeah?
So we can go.
Good deal. Well, welcome. We just started. We're talking about the command of that Yahshua actually commands us to love ourselves, which is something you guys probably already knew, but I have just recently learned it in my life. And so that's what we're here to talk about today, is loving ourselves. So we could even read the second greatest commandment backwards. Love yourself as you love your neighbor. You know, I think it doesn't distort from it, but it helps us to see the way I would treat Ella is the way I also need to treat myself, with respect and dignity and love and appreciation. And I know that sounds simple, but doing that is a little different. I don't know if any of y'all, like, how many people can say, I love myself very easily? They can say that and not feel a little tightness, or, I don't know. Are y'all all able to? Maybe it was just me that had issues with this a while back. Yeah? Is it, you can, or is it hard?
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's things that, it just shows that we're a work in progress, and we're still not loving as completely as,
It's hard not to see your history, to see yourself yesterday or last week or whenever.
Yeah. It's, you know, and we're supposed to forgive others, but we also are supposed to forgive ourselves too. And sometimes that's the hardest person to forgive, is ourselves. And I'm guilty of that. You know, you can forgive so much for somebody else, but then you're like, but I don't know. I think it's a sin when we don't forgive ourselves, even though I don't think we're doing it blatantly to try to do the wrong thing. But I think it's something that we need to look at, you know, shine a light on it, because it's not just right out there in the open. We have to kind of search these things out, you know, internally.
It's hard when you're feeling unworthy.
yeah, unworthy is a very common feeling that goes with not loving ourselves. I used to hate myself, but I didn't know it. How is that possible?
Yeah.
You know, how is that possible? But I don't have that problem anymore. I mean, I still struggle with this topic. That's why I picked this topic, because I'm still working on it. But my journey has really, you know, that I've come a long way, baby, or you've come a long way, baby, you know. We're still going and we're still babies, but I just wanted to talk about, you know, the steps of, well, let's see. Oh yeah, apparently this computer's not showing it the same. There's more. But if I asked you to list all the things that you love, how long would it be before you list to yourself?
Say that again, how?
If I asked you to make a list of all the things you love, how long would it be before you put your name
before you put
on that
yourself on
list?
the list, okay.
Shaloma contributed that for me to, I like that, because that's not my first thought. And a lot of us in here are mothers, I don't know, maybe all of us. And, oh thanks. And it's really easy to put ourselves last, and, you know, and we are supposed to sacrifice for other people, no doubt. But we all know people who we feel sacrifice too much and they need to love themselves. But sometimes we're that person too. And so it's about balance. And okay, like this little girl, isn't she precious?
Yeah.
You know, who wouldn't love her and treat her, you know, very good? All of us, you know, we see, am I in the way of that too? We see this little girl, but inside of each one of us, there's that little girl. How do we treat her? How do we talk to her? You know, she's sensitive and delicate and very important, and, you know, but yet sometimes we, you know, for whatever reason, we wind up abusing ourselves, you know, mentally, or, you know, maybe we're just repeating the past that's happened to us. But think about that little girl when you think about yourself. Yeah, how do you speak to yourself? Be careful, because you're listening. If you wouldn't say it to your best friend, then don't say it to yourself. Isn't that true? Or maybe I'm the only one that does that.
I know that sometimes when you're trying to be humorous or whatever, and of course you know it's the whatever form of wit, sarcasm, but I know that's a deflection sometimes from.
Yeah.
Me.
Or sometimes we make fun of ourselves before anybody else has a chance to, and that's
oh,
not
yeah.
healthy for us either. But it can be a habit.
But when you can make it funny, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because you try to make it okay, and you're sacrificing yourself. And humor is good. I love humor.
Okay.
But you know, you don't want to sacrifice your own respect for yourself, or you know, just like you wouldn't make a joke at someone else's expense. You know, you would want to respect yourself. You know, and I'm sorry this is not lining up the way I planned it to.
Deborah, I had attended a ladies' retreat quite a while back, and one of the activities that we did was to wear a rubber band on your wrist. And every time you were going to say something negative about yourself, you had to snap the rubber band. Pretty hard. Snapped it back into reality real quick.
That's
It's like,
good.
only say positive things about yourself, and then you don't have to snap the rubber band. But it was a simple tool, but it had a powerful effect on everybody, because
Yeah.
then it made us all realize that we do say things in a negative way towards ourselves.
That's true,
More
and
than
a
we
lot
think.
more than we, yeah, 'cause
Mhm.
we discount what we do to ourselves.
Mhm.
We discount ourselves a lot,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm all about humility and all that, but humility is not going to, you know, we're Yahweh's creatures, we're His creation. You know, that all by itself makes us, you know, children of the Most High. I mean, our value can't, our value doesn't change regardless of what's happened to us or how we get treated. I didn't bring it, but let's pretend that I had, I'll just use, can I use that right there? Is this anybody's?
It's yours.
I'm fixing to destroy it a little bit. Pretend this is a $100 bill. Okay, if I just said who wants it, who would want this?
$200.
Everybody, because you know the value is $100. So if I did this to it, and I said, well, now who wants it? Who would want it?
Still.
Yeah. Okay. Now who wants it?
I still have
You know why?
it still has value.
The value did not change regardless of
How you treated it.
Yeah, the abuse that it encountered. And I used one that didn't have Yahweh's name on it, so hopefully we didn't, throw that away. But your value doesn't change no matter how you're treated or any abuse or negative things in your life. Your value comes from Yahshua and who you are in Him. And, where we've been or what's happened to us is where we've been. It's not who we are. We are who He says we are. And just soak that in, that love. I used to think as a child, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought, well, if I'm really good, He'll have this tablespoon of love. If I don't spill it, I'll have this much love, because I didn't understand. I still don't fully understand, but I thought, if I don't spill it, He has love. But then when I realized He has oceans and oceans of love for us, we can't even measure it. I just started crying one day when it started breaking through to me that He loves us so much we can't even, overwhelm that song. It is overwhelming, the love He has. And He expects us to take good care of His daughters, and that's who we are. And so we need to not only love each other, but love ourselves, because that is where all of our love comes from. If we are hurting ourselves, it'd be hard for me to love you properly if I don't love me properly, because it's supposed to be the same kind of love. So I'm going to try to keep this down to 40-45 minutes all together, so I'll try to speed this up a little bit. And I apologize that I guess when I emailed this or something it didn't. But it says, therefore encourage each other and build each other up just as you are, yes, maybe, because on the screen it also doesn't show, or just as you have been doing is the scripture, but, I'll pull my computer out real quick.
I think it's just not there.
Yeah, I think it's, but anyways, that's a scripture that tells us what to do with each other, but we need to build ourselves up, just like we build each other up, and in truth, we're not, trying to be full of ourselves. I want to make that clear.
I don't know.
I think it's the format, Carolyn. I
covered
don't
this
think
or
it's
not,
the.
but our first impressions of who God is in our life comes from our parents.
Yeah.
And if they have a distorted viewpoint, they end up passing that viewpoint on to us.
Thank you.
So a lot of times we have to figure out, where did that idea come from, and why do I feel that way? Why do I react this way under certain situations? You have to examine that and come to terms with that and realize they're not God.
Yeah, they're just people.
They're imperfect.
But if they're only God, they're the only God that you see and hear growing up, and you're not taught about God, Yahweh. Okay? What they say, that's the love you want to hold on to, you want to please, you want to, etc. Negatively so, whatever, but it has this long-term effects.
As a survivor of abuse, I've realized and forgiven the abuser and realized they were only reacting the way they were taught for this thing that they had in their lives. And that's where I came to the conclusion too that in the third or fourth generation is usually when the cycle breaks, because either you become aware and you're able to stop that abusive behavior and move on or something, and it helps because now I can forgive and not hold that grudge or the anger feelings towards the abuser and move on, and definitely not perpetuate it with my kids.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, because our children, that's another thing, is how we love ourselves. Our children watch that. They see us, they see things about us we might not be aware of ourselves. And especially our daughters are looking at us to have self-respect, self-dignity, love, because when we don't have healthy love for ourselves, they are learning too. And when we do have healthy love, we're learning. I mean, they're learning the right things. So this verse is supposed to say, therefore encourage each other and build each other up just as you are doing. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. So I apologize for the and he always says, I love you, you know. If he loves us, then we should love us too. What are some of the reasons that we don't love ourselves?
Oh, I just brought one up.
That was good. That was right on. Here's just a few of them. I'm sure there's more than we can list, but it is comparing ourselves to others. Can everybody see too some kind of comparing ourselves to others, believing what the world says is good, the standard of the world, you know, you're good, only good if, not knowing who we are in Yahshua, thinking, well, I have to be perfect before I can love me, but right now I'm just, you know, he loves us just the way we are. It doesn't mean we want to stay, we don't want to improve ourselves in whatever areas he would have us to, but we can love ourselves right now. Poor self-image, not liking our body, poor health, negative thinking habits, and how others treat us, and so much more. I have fallen prey to all those things and more in the past. But guess what? Whoops, I didn't change it. Guess what? When you not loving yourself the way Yahshua commands us to causes these very same issues and much more. It makes us feel negative about ourselves. It makes us not. It makes us have health issues. I don't know. It makes our life worse. It creates. It's a vicious cycle. I can think of a testimony in my life when I was very, very sick. I was on probably 12 different medications, and I was basically disabled. I couldn't really even go to the grocery store, you know, without one of those carts, you know, the mobile, you know, electric ones. And I had so many health issues, and because of the medication, I was very, very overweight, more than I'd ever been in my life, and I was really sick and very depressed, and was having all of the that list we had earlier, all of this stuff, you know, slapping me in the face, and I was letting it. But then I started talking to a health coach, and of course I'm praying. I'm still a believer during all this time, and for me the breakthrough came with my health and my weight loss, because I lost a lot of weight, like over 60 pounds in 9 months, and no exercise. It was just, I started loving myself. Loving myself. No, I never saw that on a diet plan. They say love yourself. That's the number one thing you do. Because in order to do anything good for yourself, you have to love yourself. Why do we shower? We love ourselves. Why do we eat? You know, we love ourselves. And then when we improve things in our lives, it's because we love ourselves and the people that we take care of, or that we love. Because when I take care of me, or when you take care of you, it also blesses me too. Especially when we live in the same household, or you know, anybody that you're around. If you're hurting, we're all hurting. So, yeah.
It should be taught in Sunday school. I mean, I'm sure,
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure
should
it is
learn
in
it
other
early.
places. But if I hadn't heard this growing up, I'm hearing all this, I'm thinking, I was taught this is prideful. No, you don't look in the mirror and say, love yourself, you look good. No, that was wrong, it was sin.
Yeah, somehow there's
Didn't they
that,
identify with that?
yeah.
Nobody. I would not be.
The difference between like loving yourself and being fully
Thank you.
yourself.
There is,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there is a difference. So there is that school of thought you don't. That's kind of freaking me out. Sorry.
No, don't take it, please, I want to hear you.
But we don't want to be consumed with that part of us. We're made in Yahweh's image, right? And He is love.
I want to look in the mirror and not think, I look good today. I want to look in the mirror and say, Yah thinks I look good today. It loves me just like I am. I don't have to do my hair.
Well, maybe for him you could. But yeah, well, you had to be brought up, taught to love yourself too.
Yeah.
If you weren't, you don't have the first clue.
No.
Yeah, and so we have to learn it, as we go, but, it is, there's things that we can do. Oh, yes, James?
Well, I was gonna say that when you see, the first thing an abuser does is to break you down, to tell you that you're not worth it, you're not valuable. And if they can break that, then they got you where they want you, and they will keep you as long as, they have you at that point where you don't feel valued. And coming from a very horrific background of, I've shared my testimony previously before, and it was hard to get away from a lifestyle, but it was even harder to learn to love myself after that, because after being brainwashed to believe you were at this point, or you were valued at this point,
Yeah.
and then breaking that, people would say, "What? Just get over it. You're not there no more." But they don't understand your turmoil, your mental state where you're at, and having to overcome that. And that was the greatest battle, and that's where we believers can help if we see someone else in that struggle, to help them, to be compassionate in that point,
Yes.
where they're at. And it's going to take time. It does take quite a bit of time to heal, to get to that point where, now I'm like, there's no way I would let that happen to me. Because I love myself, and that Yahweh loves me, and that I don't have to be this person, I don't have to be this picture perfect person to be loved. And with that, remembering that, that's where I am fervently teaching my daughters and my sons as well, that they are precious, that they are worth something, they're valued, because if we can get them at their age, then someone else cannot go in and brainwash them.
Yes.
Get them at that age and teach them valuable. Because the society that we live in has utterly destroyed our young people, in that they have to look a certain image. They have to do that. Why do we have so many, I just read on the other day, a 10-year-old killing himself because of, bullying or something like that. And, we have to teach our kids, no matter what the other person says, it doesn't matter. Your Heavenly Father created you. They're not your Heavenly Father who created you. And if we can get to that at a very, very young age, where they don't care about what other people think about themselves, then we are winning. And we can save them from a road of turmoil, and that, they will not get abused by someone else
That's
who doesn't
wonderful.
treat them
Yeah,
the way they should be treated by the child of Yahweh.
that's right. That's wonderful. That's how it should be. Because if we don't have that, if it doesn't get broken in us, but instead we're strengthened as children, then we're stronger, we're less likely, we know our parents taught us safety, so then nope, this is not right behavior, that's not the way I should be treated, that's good, you're, protecting them ahead of time.
It reminds me of that song, looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah, because when we set ourselves up to be, for whatever reason, like it's said that we will accept whatever we think we deserve. And that can mean a lot of things to each one of us, what we think that we deserve. Sometimes that's why people stay in unhealthy relationships. Sometimes that's why people are in good relationships, because they're like, I have high standards, and, you know, not that, you know, I've been in bad relationships, so I can use that for an example is, at the time that I got into those relationships, I thought that I didn't deserve to be treated any better than that. But that's a lie, you know, that's a lie from the enemy. And probably the other person was deceived too, you know. So I'm not blaming them, but I do know that how I think affects me and the decisions that I make, and I take full responsibility for my decisions. So, but that's cool, because then you have the power. You're not giving your power away to somebody else. You retain the power Yahweh gave you. You don't need anybody to give it to you, because Yahweh already did. So you're not, yeah.
Until you learn you've been given that power, you're still in the hole.
Yeah, yeah. Because you're hurting, and there's a healing process and a reprogramming.
And you don't just get over it. I mean,
No,
it takes a
no.
while.
Yeah, but and the cool thing about Yahweh is He takes all the scars that we think are ugly, He turns them into diamonds in the future. Because, well, I don't want to make it go too long, but a lot of the things in my life that I thought, oh dear, you know, I wanted to volunteer at the pregnancy center years and years ago. And I thought all the reasons why I couldn't do it. When I went through the training, all those reasons were the reasons I would be good at it. You know, I thought, oh, I've been sexually abused as a child. I probably be good at I got married when I was 17, and I had a beautiful daughter, but he left me, you know, in 2 months, because I almost miscarried and couldn't have sex anymore. So I'm sorry, this is on Facebook, but I don't think there's any kids watching. But there's so many things that I thought, you know, I had major health, several illnesses, just a lot of things that I felt, which I know better now, but I felt like those would hold me back from helping other people. But really it built empathy, and I got to know my Savior so much better, because He's the only reason I'm here. You know, He's there with you in the storm. Other people may leave you. You might even try to leave yourself, but you really can't. But we do it emotionally sometimes. We're not available to ourselves. We need to treat ourselves like we are our own best friend.
Can you move this over here? They can't hear you very well because I'm stuck
Oh,
here.
sure.
So if you could just, I think you're fine as long as.
Just move the computer? Or?
Just yourself,
Oh,
or,
myself,
or
okay.
talk really loud.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see what the next slide says. Okay. Yeah, that goes with not loving ourselves has implications that we looked at earlier. The comparing ourselves, you know, all these things we do when we don't love ourselves. So we're kind of, I don't necessarily believe in vaccines. We're kind of vaccinating ourselves from these problems. You know what they mean. That's probably not a good analogy, but we're protecting ourselves by loving ourselves. Like Jenny put it very well. We're protecting our children when we train them early. And those principles are found in Deuteronomy chapter 28, where the blessings and the curses are listed. You know, if you follow Yahweh's Torah, you have the blessings. And I recommend y'all read that. It's a very long chapter, but it talks about the blessings and talks about the curses. And I think because He commands us to love ourselves, that is really to get the blessing or the curse, you know, because we're not working with ourselves right. It's going to be hard to work with other people right, you know. And we're still human, but it'll help us a lot. And so I really like to have affirmations, and especially scriptural affirmations. And there's so many more than this, but you know, I recommend, and maybe I can print these out for anybody who wants, but a paper that has these scriptures listed in the first person, and you can put your name there, like Judy.
It helps.
Yeah, like this one, I want to put Judy's name, if that's okay with Judy.
Sure.
Judy is worth far more than rubies. And if you could, Judy could say that to herself, you know, on a regular basis. Yahweh calls Judy beautiful one. You know, He calls all of us that. We're all
It's so much easier to do it with someone else's name, because I use my daughter's names,
Yeah,
but it's hard for me, I don't.
yeah, that's because there's need for healing, but you do recognize the value of it for your
Yeah.
children. But, you know, it's a challenge, it's not easy overnight fix, but keep working that way. And this one I love because I have abandonment issues. Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. Imagine in your worst fears, your worst day, to be able to read the scripture and believe it. That no matter what happens, Yahweh's there, Yahshua's there, and they're not leaving. They don't let us down. We might let ourselves down, and people might let us down, but they've never let us down. So they're the only ones you can fully trust 100%. The rest of us are just people. Yeah, I like this. I have printed off some bigger ones. Anybody wants it, like for your Bible or anything, or just to hang it up? Actually, we'll pass those out later. And if anybody wants them mailed to them too, that aren't here. Okay. You are precious to me. You are honored, and I love you. Isaiah 43:4. This is what Yahweh says about you. That's a pretty big deal because, you know, Yahweh's a big deal, and He thinks we're a pretty big deal, and we need to accept it. You know, because if any of our spouses or family members said, "I love you and you're precious to me," wouldn't we have to believe that they're telling, you know, that that's true and accept it? Because otherwise it would be rude to them. If I said, "Terry, I love you," you'd be like, "Well, I'm not really good enough," or "I don't want you to love me," or, you know, just kind of reject that love. You know, you put your walls up, which I've done that in the past where I didn't receive love. But if there's anybody you can receive love from, it's Yahweh and Yahshua, and He wants us to love ourselves in the healthy way. You know, like Katie pointed out, it's a big. In Romans 8:38 through 39, you are loved forever. That's a long time. I loved you at your darkest, so we don't have to be perfect. You loved us before we even knew Yahshua. Yes, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Jeremiah 31:3. His love for you is deeper than the ocean. I don't know if that's scripture, but I like the saying. Okay, love prospers when a fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates closest friends. And I put this in here, talk about forgiving ourselves, because sometimes that hurts us. You know, because Yahweh, in my experience, when I am in the wrong or He's working on something with me, He convicts me, like, "Hey, you shouldn't do that." You know, that feeling of, "You know, this is not good, you shouldn't do this, this is not right." But the enemy says, "Oh, he starts accusing you of stuff." He's the accuser of the brethren. So that's kind of how you can tell if it's Yahweh or if it's the enemy. Because the enemy will take a bat and beat you up and says, "I can't believe," you know, whatever that tape is in your mind is saying negative things. Yahweh does not condemn us, He convicts us. There's a big difference. Conviction leads to healing and change. Being condemned makes you want to give up. And that's what the enemy wants. He's the abuser that wants to destroy us. And if he can use our own mind to do it, he would love that. So love is patient. How patient are we with ourselves? That's a hard one, isn't it? You know, sometimes we're our own worst critic.
Mm-hmm. Like when you do silly things, you know. Judy, don't laugh.
Yeah.
Judy, you're going to be so stupid. You know?
Yeah, you start getting, and you're like, "Why am I doing this?" But,
Yeah.
you know, it's something you have to change.
And then I realize after I've said it that it's out there, and it comes back.
Yeah, and you're
to hear.
listening. Yeah. Yeah.
See, I've taught Dylan about speaking blessings over his life and speaking blessings into his spirit, and what we speak kind of, I believe we're procreators, like the Father says we are. We were created in His image. And it's not just through sexual reproduction. I believe since He spoke everything into existence, we speak everything into existence as well.
Yes.
And I tell Dylan all the time, you let my life be a perfect example of stinking thinking and what not to do, because I haven't overcome this. And so he's real good at recognizing it and catching it and saying, like if I'll say, you'll never get that done in time. Like nothing, like not this overt curse of like, you'll never be any good. Like I don't speak that over him, but just something minor, like you're never going to get that done in time. He'll be like, don't say that. Don't speak that into my life.
Yeah.
So teaching our children, like Jenny was talking about, teaching them these things, teaching them these principles, I think it's so much easier for them to recognize it if we've instilled it into them at a younger age than trying to overcome at 45.
Yeah, preventative maintenance is better than cure,
Well, they say that younger children, it's easier for them to learn foreign languages. So there is something about this brain, that connection, that symbiotic spirit-mind connection, that they grasp it easier.
Yeah, and so that means that they can also grasp their own way of thinking so easy too, because they just do it by osmosis. And yeah, that's so good that because what we speak is very powerful.